It's time for analysis.
Hello, yes, you're welcome back. We're on the Sports Locker right here on Radio 1 FM 103.7. I am Ken Gaddafi, the Oracle, and we are now on the analysis segment. Well, earlier today I mentioned that yes, the 3x3 youth basketball tournament is going on at the Olympic Stadium with about 20 teams taking part in the under 17 category, and then about 8 teams taking part in the girls category. This is the third time that Cambodia Basketball Federation will be organizing the 3x3 tournament. In last December, we had the 3x3 tournament sponsored by Pate. And then in early January, we had the 3x3 tournament, also supported by the Extra Jaws energy drink. And this time around, it's been supported by the sponsored by the 123 Fly and Tour Company. This is very good to see that Cambodian companies and corporate organizations are showing interest in sport. Ivan Musto, we've seen that there's a lot of activities now coming and going towards the youth development. What do you think about this, especially with the 3x3 tournament coming up this weekend?
Well, it's one of the first steps that the Cambodian government and overall the Cambodian Federation is doing to promote basketball in the country, because the SEA Games in 2023 is going to be a big event, so that's why they need to select these young talents and try to put them together. That's why organizing these youth tournaments is going to help coaches to think who should they pick for the SEA Games coming up. So that's why it's a big move by the federation, especially the Cambodia Basketball Federation, to make these tournaments. And it's good that many companies and organizations are showing interest. So more and more kids in the 8 or 7 years time are grouping up together, and they are trying to show their talent and see if they can make it.
Good. Palarit, what's your take on this? I mean, youth development. We saw this with, especially with Taekwondo. We saw it also with football, the Football Federation. Now the Basketball Federation are going through the youth, and this is the third time in this year that we are having the youth tournament. What does it connote? I mean, what does it bode for Cambodian future?
It's always good to have young people competing. It's good to always have to have something for them to compete in. So talented players have place to showcase their talent. And like you said, there are tournament for taekwondo, for football, but not much for basketball. Basketball is to be considered as one of the maybe not second, maybe second or third favorite sport in Cambodia. Most of the schools they have basketball court, but in terms of resource for the national team, look at the last few SEA Games, which Cambodia went to the SEA Game. They always need to have player who live abroad, player who is Cambodian but lives abroad. So the resource here in Cambodia is not enough. So these kind of game, these kind of tournament promotes the interest of young kids. So if this continue, in the next few years, we will build more talents. It's a good chance for the coaches to scout for good young players. This happened the same as futsal in football. You know,
that's
some
true.
of the great football players came from futsal. I give you an example of this guy from Cambodia. He used to play for the Cambodian national team too. Sung Rep used to be a futsal player. I used to play against him in the futsal cup in 2008. He's now a football player. So that goes the same to the basketball team, to the basketball player. These young talent, 3-on-3 game could give them boost and confidence and give them more interest to participate in the sport in the long run. So it's just very good for them.
Just to add something, I would think that it's good that more more of these tournaments are coming up, but I would suggest the local institutions, especially the government, to also make some tournaments in the provinces, because there are some good players who are good and talented, but they cannot show their skill because they don't live in Phnom Penh. So it's kind of, it's good. More tournaments should be made, but also in the future, like the national games that are coming up soon, it would be good if the Cambodia Basketball Federation could make a national tournament, invite all teams from the provinces and scout young talents from the villages, the small towns. So I hope a national league, a national tournament could happen like this, with all the nation involved.
Yeah, well, that's exactly why we have the national game coming up, Ivan, and basketball is also part of the event in the national game. So I expect definitely that, like you said, which is a very good point, this game should also be spread to the provinces, and then opportunities for young talents to be discovered. That's absolutely true. Well, still talking about basketball, the semi-final and Extra Jaws Fighters on a 12-0 winning streak will be taking on SGM Beast, who are on 8-4 winning streak. Then in the second semi-finals, ALLN Confucian Supermen we take on Bion Airlines. ALLN are on 11-1. The only defeat they suffered was against Extra Jaws Fighters, and Bion Airline are on 7-5. Ivan, you played basketball, you managed the team, and you participated. First, before we talk about the semi-finals, what could you say about the standard of the CBL? This is the fourth edition of the CBL. How has it been in the last 4 years for you?
Well, the Cambodia didn't have many major basketball tournaments, but when Michael, a French guy, came up with the idea of making actually a league here in Cambodia, not many people were supporting this idea, but then finally some foreigners grew up together and made some teams, especially the Filipino community, because most of the basketball lovers here in Cambodia are Filipinos. So yeah, it started with foreigners joining this, making a league here in Phnom Penh, but gradually, year by year, some local Cambodian players gain interest, and actually this league helped the development of basketball in Cambodia, because as I saw, many Khmer players grew up together and they made some teams. So from the start, which was just a league made of foreign teams, gradually more and more Khmer players got involved, and finally I can say that the number of Khmer teams are increasing, and it's helping the league grow. And I would say that last year, because of the number of foreign players, it was more exciting than this year, because this year is more like local players rather than foreign players. But last year there were some players from the United States and Russia, so it was kind of more interesting. But I just hope that at the end of this season, clubs can become franchises, so more money can be flown into these clubs, and more players can come here, and more interest can be made from this league,
Yeah, good. Well, you made a good point there. I mean, talking about the the standard, how the standard this season has gone up. Yeah. But let's look at the match now coming up this weekend. Let's look at the four teams that are in the semi-finals, and let's look at which of the two teams are likely to progress. Unlike last year, it was 3 games semi-finals, and I think the final was also 3 games. But this year, it's only 1 off, and so it means tomorrow we will have 2 finalists emerging after tomorrow's game. Extra Just Fighters are on 12-0. They were 2015 runners-up. They are unbeaten this season. They also we are the runners-up in the Bayon Cup. They're taking on MSGM Beast, who are already the revelation. This is a new team. This is their first season in the CBL. Ivan Musto, going into this game, Extra Just MSGM, can you talk us through?
Yeah, I would say that Extra Just Fighters have been consistent all season because they have played together for many years and they know each other very well. Their style of playing is all organized, and they know the players' movements, they know how to pass, they know how to shoot. So yeah, Extra Just Fighters are just a very consistent team and well organized, and of course their coach and players, they know all the mechanisms. So, and of course, because of their imports from the Philippines and from Africa, I would say that they should be the main team to beat this season. And coming up for this semi-final, I think they have a very good chance of going to the final. For MSGM, yes, they are a new team, yes, but actually, if you look on their main players, those guys that play in Cambodia now were actually friends in Singapore, in Taiwan. So most of these players in this team were actually teammates. So it's like all school, all players and friends that reunite together and make this MSGM team. And they actually have some good players from Singapore and Taiwan who played in local leagues for their universities, their colleges. And I would say that if MSGM can play fast, with fast breaks, and if they can have a good shooting day, they can actually surprise and hurt Extra Joes. So I would say this would be a good game if MSGM will have a good game plan.
Good, yeah. Talking about game plans, yes, okay, let's look at the ALLN Confucian Supermen and the Bayon Airlines. The ALLN looked invisible until they met Extra Jaws, and they lost that match by less than, I think, about 4 points. But going into this match, Bayon Airlines, on the back of their performance, they finished third in the Bayon Cup, and then they built on that experience, and they've come 7-5 going into this semi-final, and ALLN are 11-1 going into this semi-final. ALLN has some of the biggest guys in the entire league. Their defense have been very, very good. With players like Sabayo, with Kunaman, with Koran, with Dong, and facing the players like Bayu, like Chow, like Onwai. Ivan Musto, where do you think this game can be won and lost for either side? And which of the two teams have the edge?
Well, I think that Bayon Airlines is a very unpredictable team because, yes, like I said about MSGM, Bayon Airlines is also a group of friends and teammates who have played together for years in China and now here in Cambodia. So yeah, in the last Bayon Cup they finished third in the season, but actually the most shocking thing that they did was beating Extra Just Fighters by 8 points, and that was the most shocking thing that happened in Cambodian basketball for years. So I would say this, that if Bayon Airlines can bring all their main players together, because most of throughout the season they have been inconsistent because sometimes most of the players were unavailable, injured, or for working reasons out. So I would say if they can group together and they can have a good game plan, playing fast, because yes, MSGM, ON
yeah.
are big and strong, but they are a bit slow because they also have these tall Australian players. But if you can play fast, and if you can have a good shooting day, because Bayonne Lions have actually some very good shooters, especially their point guard, number 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So if they can have a good shooting day and they can play fast and they can play as